really excited to introduce some initiatives that will bridge CASPA to the global financial system and will redefine how businesses can interact with finance and energy and some other sectors. So, CASPA's built this great, powerful and scalable block DAG technology, and it's not stopping there. There's lots of really cool things coming. And we're building a system as a market facilitator that seamlessly connects CASPA to the established world of traditional finance. So CASPA meets traditional finance. So I'm thrilled to introduce what we call WarpCore. And WarpCore is what we consider the first of a game-changing project that will redefine how CASPA interacts with the global financial system. It'll bridge the gap between the innovation of CASPA and the requirements of global commerce. And this is WarpCore. So, what does WarpCore do? Well, WarpCore enables more secure, faster cross-border payments, breaking down the barriers of time and cost that have long hampered international transactions. I don't know about you guys. If you guys have ever tried to send an international payment overseas, you'll know what a POS it is. It's difficult. But what we want to do is we want to enable this faster, more secure cross-border payment mechanism, but in full compliance with global standards, meeting the strictest regulatory requirements and opening the door to institutional adoption of CASPA and ensuring that CASPA can compete on a global scale. WarpCore achieves this through two key pillars of compliance. So through what's known as ISO 20022 compliance, WarpCore enables CASPA to seamlessly interact with the traditional banking systems by adhering to these globally accepted ISO standards. So ISO 20022 is now considered the global standard for financial messaging used by financial institutions in over 70 countries. And this isn't like a box-ticking exercise. It's about ensuring that CASPA can speak the language of global finance. And then the second part of it is we want to talk about another ISO standard, ISO 24165, which is digital token identifiers. So WarpCore will provide a standardized system for identifying CASPA's digital tokens, ensuring transparency, traceability, and auditability, essential for building trust and meeting regulatory requirements. And one of the interesting things is it's optional. At the heart of WarpCore is its middleware layer. It's a bridge between the decentralized world of CASPA and the established centralized traditional systems. So we're introducing and building this as middleware. And that may change, but for now, we're looking at it as middleware. And what it does is it converts transaction data into an ISO 20022 format, making it understandable and compliant with existing banking systems. It helps manage KYC and anti-money laundering checks to ensure that institutions can meet their regulatory obligations without compromising the core CASPA decentralization. And as I said, it's an optional compliance layer. WarpCore's compliance features are optional, they're not mandatory. Institutions can choose the level of integration they want, ensuring that the CASPA's block DAG remains decentralized, but yet accessible for other users to do what they want and introduce other protocols. What does this actually do? So what are the benefits? But the benefits of WarpCore are actually quite tangible. In terms of streamlining processes that eliminate the need for expensive intermediaries, making financial operations more cost-effective for financial institutions. In terms of settlement, it improves cash flow and capital efficiency, giving financial institutions greater control over their finances. And 3, it leverages Kaspa's inherent strengths in speed and scalability to protect transactions and to build trust. So, WarpCore is more than just efficiency. It's about unlocking the transformative potential of DeFi for institutions. So imagine a future where tokenized assets, lending protocols, and other innovative DeFi applications seamlessly integrate with the traditional financial systems. WarpCore makes this vision a reality. It paves the way for more accessible, transparent, and an equitable financial landscape. So that is WarpCore. That's the first of our major announcements today. So next, I'd like to talk about stablecoins, just to put everything in context. Most of you are probably familiar with stablecoins, but stablecoins are pretty ubiquitous in the crypto world. But just for the sake of being comprehensive, I just want to put it into context for what we're going to talk about next. Stablecoins represent a bridge between the familiar world of traditional finance and the exciting possibilities of Kaspa technology. So what are stablecoins? So stablecoins are a unique solution for businesses that are hesitant to dive headfirst into sometimes volatile world of cryptocurrencies. And unlike traditional cryptos, which can experience dramatic price swings, stablecoins are designed to maintain a stable value. So this is typically achieved by pegging them to a reserve asset like the US dollar or a basket of other assets. And there's other mechanisms for doing it algorithmically and everything else. But this stability is what makes stablecoins so compelling for businesses and for exchanges. And to put it into context, in 2023 alone, fiat-backed, i.e. traditional cash-backed stablecoins facilitated over crypto, $7 trillion worth of transactions globally. So that's more than the value processed by MasterCard and PayPal combined. So this remarkable volume highlights the increasing demand for stablecoins, not just within the crypto community, but from businesses and institutions that are seeking a faster, more efficient, and more secure way to transact value and settle contracts. At KI, we've recognized the transformative power of stablecoins, and we're already actively working with third parties to integrate stablecoins into the Kaspa ecosystem. And that'll leverage Kaspa's high scalability, low transaction fees to create a platform where stablecoins and stablecoin transactions are processed at literally speed of light, pretty much. Minimal costs and all of the security, transparency, and scalability superlatives that we've talked about in terms of Kaspa. So this is the future of payments, a future where businesses can move value globally with unprecedented ease and speed and security, all whilst harnessing the power of the decentralized financial system. So as KII, as we continue to build these bridges between Kaspa and global finance, we're also pioneering some solutions of our own that will drive the transition to the zero carbon economy. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to something new. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we're unveiling something that we think is going to revolutionize how the world powers itself and finances its energy future. We've discussed Kaspa's groundbreaking technology and its impact on finance. And now we're taking it a bold step further, building towards a zero carbon economy and bringing a native stable coin to Kaspa. And it's Gigawatt Coin. So what is Gigawatt Coin? So Gigawatt Coin isn't just another stable coin. It's a financial instrument designed for the energy sector. Built on Kaspa's ultra-scalable proof-of-work tech, it's backed by real-world assets, like renewable energy credits, carbon offsets, green bonds, physical energy infrastructure, as well as a basket of select fiat assets. It's fractionizable down to the kilowatt hour. And what that means is every fraction represents a real unit of energy. And it means that energy can become a globally tradable financial asset. Borders become irrelevant. Instant settlements on energy-related transactions can happen via Kaspa. So we're building Paul's vision of over 20 years ago, which wasn't possible to do because the technology just didn't exist. So we believe that this has a lot of potential in terms of allowing people to trade, invest in clean energy, and settle energy contracts as easily as any other commodity, but fast and quickly. But what we want to do is we want to go kind of one step further, and we want to look at the environmental impact of the stablecoin. So Gigawatt Coin is designed to offset its carbon footprint from the outset and over time become carbon negative by over-collateralizing carbon credits, locking them away from the market. And by doing that, we actively reduce carbon emissions with every transaction. This means that the more Gigawatt Coin is used, the more we contribute to removing carbon from the market. And what we want to do is we also want to move away from the petrodollar-dominated system. And Gigawatt Coin positions itself as a key player in the energy transition to net zero, to unite trade for emerging forms of new energy, of which we're going to talk about in a minute. Empowering markets, facilitating BRICS nations, and facilitating decentralized energy systems, and promoting energy independence. So Gigawatt Coin for us isn't just about energy, it's about creating a sustainable, scalable financial instrument for the future. So, how are we going to do this? Well, the first thing is we want to make sure that it's regulatory compliant across global markets. So, we're starting this process. And we want to ensure that Gigawatt Coin will be fully compliant with key regulatory frameworks, including MiCA in the EU, the evolving US stablecoin regulations, the evolving regulations in the MENA region and UAE, and other energy and carbon compliance standards that are emerging in BRICS nations. And we want to ensure that Gigawatt Coin is legally robust and ready for global adoption. And we see this as a pretty interesting game changer. So, what we want to do is back Gigawatt Coin by real world energy assets. So, how are we going to do that? So, we're creating a hybrid collateralization mechanism that combines energy credits, carbon offsets, green bonds, physical infrastructure, and selected fiats. And what that does is it aligns the financial performance of the financial instrument with the global energy transition. And energy assets tend to be very, very stable. They're built to last long periods of time. They're stable assets. In many cases, they're designed for decades. What we want to do is also to be able to use Gigawatt Coin as a way of helping accessibility and flexibility to allow people to have greater access to the energy markets and turn energy into a tradable asset. So through fractionalized ownership, energy can be priced, bought, and traded down to kilowatt hour, and open energy markets to a wider range of participants. The active carbon reduction we've talked about already in terms of locking away carbon credits and dealing with emission reductions. And empower markets in terms of energy independence and financial inclusion, and help unlock capital for financial inclusion in developing the new markets, new energy technologies, and new investment opportunities for everybody. So, as I say, native to Kaspa, operating on Kaspa's proof of work technology, The technical foundations are real-time, secure transactions, high throughput, high scalability, and most importantly, censorship resistance. We don't want bad actors manipulating the price of Gigawatt Coin as a stable coin. It's a global standard. It's meant to be used globally. So the entire way Kaspa network is designed as a completely censorship resistant by default. As well as that, we're going to build in a whole raft of other robust security protocols, most of which come natively through Kaspa anyway. So I know we're under a little bit of pressure for time, so I'm going to skip some more of this, but we will be publishing a lot of this information on our website, and we're publishing some papers on this at the Global Leadership Energy Summit in Vienna in October, where we'll have a lot more information on this. That's Gigawatt Coin, a financial instrument that the world needs to build a sustainable energy future with Gigawatt Coin, Gigawatt stable coin. You know, we're not just imagining a zero carbon economy, we're actually powering it on Kaspa. And that leads us to a new intersection between innovation and sustainability. And I'm honored to share with you a groundbreaking initiative that merges cutting-edge technology with our collective vision for a cleaner world and brings one of Paul's big visions to life. And that's ZETX, the Zero Emission Trading Exchange. And ZETX is designed to fundamentally transform how we approach carbon markets and sustainable energy trading. And just to put things in context a little bit, I'd like to talk to you about green hydrogen and e-fuels. So before we delve into ZETX, let's just explore this a little bit. Green hydrogen. What is green hydrogen? You might have heard it in media. Green hydrogen is produced through electrolysis of water using 100% renewable energy sources or low carbon energy sources like wind or solar, emitting zero or near zero carbon dioxide. But there's also lots of derivative e-fuels, and that expands the horizons of zero emission energy and the zero emission economy. So building upon green hydrogen, we have these derivative e-fuels, carbon neutral synthetic fuels produced by combining green hydrogen with captured CO2. And these e-fuels are critical for decarbonizing energy intensive sectors that are in some cases challenging to electrify. So I'm not going to go into so much detail. I could give an entire lecture on e-ammonia and methanol and e-kerosene, but I'll just go through some really quick ones. So e-ammonia, production of it is where you synthesize green hydrogen with nitrogen from the air. Its applications are a promising marine fuel and hydrogen carrier. It's easier to store and transport than hydrogen, and it's compatible with existing infrastructure. So that makes it very important. And in terms of market projections, the International Renewable Energy Agency suggests that e-ammonia will make up about 25% of global hydrogen demand by 2050. Then there's e-methanol, which combines green hydrogen with captured CO2. And its applications are also for a fuel for maritime transport and a feedstock for other chemicals. The advantages of it are it's liquid at ambient temperatures, and that facilitates storage and transport. It's a rapidly growing market, projected within the next 24 months to reach almost 50 billion, with an annual CAGR of at least 6 or 7%. E-kerosene, also known as eSAF, or sustainable aviation fuel, and that's produced by from green hydrogen and captured CO2, and it's a sustainable replacement for conventional jet fuel. And again, the World Economic Forum suggests that sustainable aviation fuel could meet 10% of aviation fuel demand by 2030. So these e-fuels are categorized as, mostly by the EU, using stupid EU and acronyms, as renewable fuels of non-biological origin, or FNBOs. But they're really essential for increasing for increasing the decarbonization of industries like shipping, aviation, and heavy industry. And European regulations are increasingly recognizing and promoting these renewable fuels of non-biological origin as part of their sustainability strategies. So what does that mean for... So it means that there's a growing market for zero-emission credits and also how they relate to these RFNBOs, or e-fuels, let's call them. And in terms of zero-emission credits, it represents the environmental benefits of producing and using these clean fuels separate from the physical commodities. And the market growth projections indicate that the value of this carbon market could reach $2 trillion by 2030. And that's driven by a number of interesting driving factors. So there's ambitious policy targets that have been set within the EU and MENA countries aligning with the Paris Agreement. There's a lot of demand from hard-to-abate sectors like aviation, shipping, and heavy industry requiring sustainable solutions. There's significant, large-scale, running into hundreds of billions of dollars of investment in innovation, and technological advancements are reducing the costs and increasing the scalability of these fuels. But the problem is, you have to try and navigate a fragmented carbon market, and it's currently a wild west. There's a need for standards and transparency, and that leads to a lot of challenges in the current carbon market. So we talked already about fragmentation. The carbon market lacks standard protocols, leading to lots and lots of inefficiencies and uncertainties and frauds and all sorts of other nasty things. There's a lack of transparency globally. There's inconsistent practices, unclear certifications, and it undermines trust and hinders investment. And then there's lots of inefficiencies that's in the market. There's aspects of the carbon market that are siloed applications, which reduces liquidity and increases transaction costs, or doesn't allow for price discovery. And the other thing is there's no regional markets. So one of the things that we want to do as part of ZETEX is to have a very strong commitment to developing standards and collaborations. And to overcome that, we want to contribute to key trading standards. So we want to work alongside organizations like the Zero Emissions Traders Alliance, which was founded by our chairman of KAI, Paul Van Son. And the mission of ZETA is to shape and bring transparent markets for low and sub-zero carbon emission projects by establishing clear standards and protocols. What we want to do is align with ZETA's vision by promoting standardization, transparency, and trust in the carbon market. So, going back to ZETEX. So, we're developing this in global partners, building upon CASPA's advanced technology. ZETEX represents a complete shift into tokenization and trading of green energy assets and their associated attributes, and the initial focus will be on the MENA region. And so I want to talk very, very about some of the key innovations. And this is quite important. One is we want to decouple the commodities from their financial attributes. So the commodity represents the actual energy or the fuel produced, and then there's the environmental attributes, the zero emission credit or renewable energy certificate. We want to create new liquid markets. Again, we want to start off by focusing on the MENA region, leveraging the region's potential in renewable energy and particularly green hydrogen production. We want to provide a dedicated platform for trading in these e-fuels. And we want to also facilitate the enablement of fractional ownership of large energy assets like wind farms, solar arrays, green hydrogen facilities, all leveraging CASPA's technology of scalability, its capability of handling high transaction volumes, which is essential for building a global trading platform of the magnitude that we're talking about. We want to leverage CASPA security, advanced cryptographic protocols to ensure data integrity and transaction authenticity, and then transparency. CASPA is an open block DAG. And fosters trust and provides a transparent audit trail. So we have lots of obstacles to overcome. This isn't something that is going to be available next week. We wish it would be. And in some cases, we're working to accelerate this. And we're going to talk about that in a moment. But to overcome these obstacles, engaging with regulators, working proactively with us to ensure alignment with international agreements and local regulatory standards, and collaborating with organizations like ZETA to adopt the best practices, set the global standards, and contribute to those development of clear, understandable, usable standards open to all. And a big part of it is also to collaborate with key industry stakeholders. And you know our collective backgrounds. So we want to collaborate with those key stakeholders and incentivize them to start adopting this system. And then to engage in education and outreach, facilitate understanding and trust through transparent, open communication. So we want to open up this ecosystem to allow for third-party developers to come and build on this platform and to be inclusive in terms of building new capacity. And we want to provide developer tools and resources like SDKs and APIs, comprehensive standards and contracts and documents and template smart contracts, and collaborate with institutions and NGOs to provide training and resources, and contribute to social development goals in ensuring that we can actually meet the challenges of the transition to the zero emission. So there's lots of other things that I could talk about, but we have a lot of other things to get through, and I'm conscious of the time. But we're quite serious about the particular project because it supports global carbon neutrality goals, and we want to break down barriers, foster global cross-border collaboration, and align the efforts of the energy industry to meet the climate goals collectively and to actually create real markets for trading these instruments and advancing the global standards, and create a cohesive and effective global carbon market. So that's a little bit about ZTEX. And I'm really happy to say that together with the KAI chairman Paul and organizations like ZETA, I really think we can do a really good job using CASPA technology. We can overcome fragmentation, set clear standards, and bring transparency to carbon markets.